What I love about Paul being the cold call coach is very simple. He's practical and he teaches tactics that matter and you can apply to your business no matter who you are or what you do.
Today's the third of these training sessions. If today's the first one, what we're going to do is we're going to recap some of the things that we discussed along the way, provide you with a little bit of background information on some of the topics that you missed, just so you got a frame of reference. But otherwise, today's really all about scripting. Today's about, great, we know who to call, we know why we're calling them, we know who that we're going after, we know from a psychological perspective how to go through the call, not sound like a sleazy salesperson, not self-incriminate right off the bat, really pique curiosity, create that urgency, and buy ourselves some time. So basically, you got a captive audience. What do you say? Are you going to say the next big thing to get them to take that step where they say, yeah, this sounds great, let's schedule that dedicated time? Are you going to pick up the phone and go, don't do that, I tried that, it doesn't work too well. But what are you going to say now that you've got the dedicated time? You're kind of like the dog that caught the car. What do you do with that now? And one of the things that I want to do today is I want to walk through this process a little bit more, just to kind of share with you some things that I would like you to keep in mind when you've got the person of interest on the phone, when you're leaving that voicemail, when you encounter a gatekeeper or somebody else who's standing in your way to get you from where you are now to where you're going. So today is basically our scripting session, and there's one disclaimer that I want to get out of the way right now, just so we're on the same page. When I talk about scripts, what I'm referring to are guidelines. What I'm referring to are roadmaps. What I'm referring to is something to write down and refer back to from time to time so you can start ingratiating this into your muscle memory and your sales DNA. Here's what I'm not articulating. Hello, Joe. My name is Paul Newberger. How is your day? Ha ha, I will have to remember that. I don't want you to sound like RoboCop. Because part of the reason that people want to work with you is because they like you. Part of the reason that people want to work with you is because you have an innate skill set, some competitive advantages, some intangibles that make your family like you, make your clients want to work with you, and that give you a competitive advantage. If I just give you a blanket script and say, read this, you'll be fine, the things that make you you get lost. The things that make you special go by the wayside. So what I want to do, what you're going to find, and we're here for the next couple hours, I promise I'll try to make this entertaining for you, but one of the things you're going to find is part of the reason that our business is growing is that this is a completely original idea. I would bet dollars to donuts, whatever the heck that means, that at the end of the day, what we're going to talk about is going to be original, innovative, outside the box, and unlike anything you've heard before. So it's with that in mind that I want to take a deeper dive. I want you to know how to build a script, how to create this from scratch. Because can you imagine what would happen if I had this room of, we got about, whatever we got in here, a decent number of people. Can you imagine if I just said, hey everybody, I don't care who you're going after, I don't care what you're trying to accomplish, but to get them to meet with you, say 1, 2, 3, you're good to go. Could you imagine if every single one of you left here today, you all burned up the phones and started saying the exact same thing? Well, you're saying what she's saying. You're saying what he's saying. You're saying what he's saying. What do you think these prospects and organizations and individuals are going to start to think after a little while? Did everybody just attend a cold call seminar? What's going on? Well, the first one sounded okay. The second one okay. Third one, I'm what the heck. Fourth one, and now I'm jaded on the whole process. Time well spent, right? So all I want to do is I want to show you how to build a script from scratch. I want to show you how to create a script no matter where you're working, what you're doing, who you're going after, what you're offering, what the future has. Once you know how to build a script from scratch, there's nobody you can't get in front of, and you're going to fill in the blanks based on what we're going to talk about today. So there's a couple of components with our scripts that I just want to share with you. There's 3 commonalities that all of our scripts have in common. And if you know anything about me outside of the fact that I'm ridiculously good looking, is that I've got hundreds of clients in 26 states in 2 countries, and if you look at the diversity of my clients, I've got 4 professional sports teams that I'm working with. I work with several Fortune 500 companies. I work with individual realtors, individual financial advisors, individual insurance reps. You've got all these different people in diverse fields selling different products, offering different services, but you know what they all have in common? These 3 things. their scripts are comprised of 5 parts. So again, they're not all saying the same thing, but they're building the scripts in the same way. Their message is not always the same, but they're conveying said message in the same order. So the first thing that I want to do is just show you how we build these scripts, the order in which these scripts are conducted, because that's the great equalizer. Once we've built the foundation, now you can start building the house according to your needs and your specifications. But without that foundation, everything's going to come crumbling down anyway. So every script that we talk about has 5 parts. Those 5 parts are spread out over the course of 6 sentences. That's it. You're only going to be talking for 6 sentences. You're only going to be sharing communication and engaging this individual over the course of 6 sentences, and total from a timing perspective, that script should last you exactly 20 to 25 seconds. That's it. Well, if you're not saying all that much to begin with, the odds of you making a mistake go down. If you're not saying all that much to begin with, the pressure on you to say something charming, witty, funny, or just the right thing to just the right person at just the right moment go down. So I'm trying to show you how this cold call scripting process is kind of like a date with no sexual tension. All it is, hey, we're going to hang out, we're going to go bowling, have some tacos, and we're going to go our separate ways. If you can see how to build a script where there's no sales pressure, where there's no unrealistic expectations, where you don't have to have all the answers before you sit down to take the test, and you don't have to know everything about everybody that you call, now it's more fun, it's more straightforward, it's more easy, and gosh darn it, when you're relaxed, is that going to help your chance or hurt your chance? And that's all I want to show you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to break this down piece by piece. Some of these pieces are a little bit more easy to understand than the others, but because I want you to emerge today with a firm knowledge and understanding of what each part does, the importance of it, and how it fits into the confines of the script, we're going to do this one by one. So the very first part of the script is what I call the assumptive greeting. I used to abbreviate assumptive, and I think you know how I used to abbreviate that, but I stopped doing that. It looked a little weird when I had ASS greeting on the screen. So we're going to avoid that. So the assumptive greeting is the first part of your cold call script. So when you're engaging with that person of interest, when you're talking to that decision maker, eventually before we leave today, when I show you how to leave a voicemail and talk to the gatekeeper, this is the first thing that we start with. So what do you think, if you were to look at a cold call script in its entirety, the beginning, quarter way, halfway, 3/4 way, end, which part of the script do you think is the most important part of the script, the most crucial for your success, and why?
Beginning.
The beginning. Why would you say the beginning?
Because it sets the expectations for the rest of the call.
Sure, yeah, because you've only got one chance to make a first impression. You've only got one chance to get out of the starting block quickly. Would anybody else take a contrarian opinion to what was shared? Yes?
I think the beginning is important, but also you have to close at the end, so there's got to be a good end too.
Sure, absolutely there's got to be a good end. And I think if you set somebody up, if they like what they've heard, if you pique curiosity, and then like a movie, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, that's probably not the best way to go. Any other thoughts, beginning, end? Any other thoughts on the most important part of the script from your opinion?
The whole thing.
Sure, the whole thing. Well, let's just lump the whole thing in there. Let's not screw any of it up. I would agree with you. The whole thing is vitally important. But what I would say, in my opinion, the very beginning is the most important. Every part is crucial, but the very beginning is the most important because that sets the tone for what comes next. That starts the psychological triggers and mechanisms in the prospect's brain. You're going to find out pretty quick, I can do this, or oh my gosh, I'm off to a bad start. Because if you bomb the opening and there's a less than stellar reaction, that's not going to do much for your confidence. So please, for the love of God, do not take the assumptive greeting for granted. Most people just worry about the ask. Most people just worry about the close. Most people just worry about what comes in the middle, and they go, I can introduce myself. That's not rocket science. But if you don't introduce yourself in the right way, it's going to be exceedingly difficult to succeed. What makes the assumptive greeting the assumptive greeting? There's a couple things. So number one is, it is one sentence followed by one question. So your assumptive greeting, when done correctly, should be one sentence followed by one question. The other thing is, and we talked about this in the previous training session, So for those of you that saw this, this will be review. It's good review, but if you weren't privy to that, this is going to be some interesting insight, hopefully, in terms of how you can start this call off to a good start. What you want to do is you want to also avoid all SI. Not Sports Illustrated, because we love that magazine, but what I mean is SI, self-incrimination. Self-incrimination. So for somebody who is privy to this information, who has got this detail from the last session that we had, what do I mean by self-incrimination from a cold call perspective? Any thoughts on that? And here's the other thing, let me say, and I'll call on you one sec, sir. Here's the other thing that I'll say, I should have done this from the get-go. My presentations try to be very engaging. I don't want to sit here and monologue. My wife says I love the sound of my own voice, and there might be a little bit of truth to that, but I want to talk to you guys. I want to have a conversation. This is what I call the peace nest. Everything is fair game here. We're not going to judge or tease each other, so please feel free to share as much as you can. You're going to get a lot out of it if you do. Sir, what do I mean by self-incrimination?
You don't want to sound like a salesman.
Well said. All I mean by self-incrimination is I'm not telling you I'm selling something. I'm not saying I want to have you buy something or I want to exchange a good, a product, or a service, but you assume I'm a salesperson just based on what I say. So in the greeting, what I believe, now I'm going to move on to the next screen. If you need me to go back, I can. But one of the things that I want to talk about here is I believe there are 4 types of self-incrimination. There are 4 ways that very well-meaning, good human beings shoot themselves in the face with a bazooka when they first start their cold calls because they say or incorporate 4 things into that opening sentence that they should not. If you know the answer, feel free to share it. If you want to wager a guess, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. What do most salesy cold calls begin with?
My name is.
Perfect. That's a great one. My name is, I'm going to abbreviate that, MNI. So part of the reason, review if you were a part of this session, new information if you weren't, part of the reason that my name is so detrimental, what does my name is signify? Yeah, you're selling something, you're a stranger. Give me without any backstory, give me the first name of your best friend.
Dwayne.
Dwayne, okay? Dwayne the bathtub, I'm drowning, right? Just kidding, bad joke. So Dwayne, my mom told me that when I was a kid. It's stuck in my head ever since. So Dwayne, so let's say, so you have a rough day at the office and you say, you know what, I want to call Dwayne. Dwayne's a guy that I can go to share my thoughts with. He always knows what to say to cheer me up. He picks up his phone, he's getting ready to call Dwayne. All of a sudden the phone starts ringing. It's that ringtone that he set to it. I think the Spice Girls song that you guys like so much. It's Dwayne's picture. You slide it over, it's Dwayne. You go, hey, D-Dog, how you doing? And your first name?
Paul.
Paul. And what Dwayne says is, hi, Paul, my name is Dwayne. How are you? What's weird? You giggle. What's weird with that introduction?
No, impersonal.
Yeah. Dwayne, I know you. How many markers have you been smelling in a closed-door room here? Come on, what are you talking about? We're buddies. Of course we know each other. My name is signifies unfamiliarity. My name is basically, hello, sir. We've never had a conversation before. Please allow me the chance to introduce myself. Huge red flag, because what kind of calls start like that? And I guarantee you that none of you, if you had caller ID that said salesperson, 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 not too many of you are going to go, ooh, thank you, hello, sales guy, how are you? So get rid of my name is, very good. There's 3 other things. What should you omit from the opening, sir?
Company.
Very good, company. Now that's intriguing to me because if you work for a company, aren't you supposed to say where you work? Why would you want to get this relationship off on a lie or misleading or withholding the truth? Can you tell me a little bit about why do you feel you wouldn't want to include your company in the intro?
They may have a preconceived notion of what your company is about that may not be true.
Okay, so if I said, I'm not going to say my name is, but if I said Paul Neuberger from the Cold Call Coach, you probably have a pretty good idea of what the duration of my call is going to sound like, right? Here's the other thing that I would say. First of all, you need to tell them where you're calling from in the script, but I don't see anywhere where it's written down that you lead with it, because people usually lead with what's most important. So, sir, first name?
Todd.
Todd. So, Todd, what line of work are you in?
Mortgages.
So, mortgages. So, Todd in mortgages, is there a part of the day where you stop being Todd the mortgage guy?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, a family, I'm assuming, you got hobbies and interests. You probably like to do things outside of work. people way too often define themselves professionally to start these calls. And if you're starting to define yourself professionally, what kind of a call must it be? That's right. So we can talk about where we work, we can talk about what we do, we can talk about our services, but don't lead with it. Because people usually lead with what's most important. And if where I work, the cold call coach, is very relevant to the balance of the call, it plays a central theme in this conversation. It's going to be a starring role in this conversation. And the reason behind my call is tied into where I work and what I do. If you start giving people that impression right off the bat, they're automatically going to go to sales, no matter how witty, how charming, or how articulate you are, and that's going to make your chance for success go down. Two other things. What else should we avoid in the intro?
Is it a good time to talk?
Well, that's certainly a good one. Well, I have two other things that are different from that, but I think that requires special mention. Don't raise hands, because I'm going to make fun of you if you're one of these people, so just keep it in your head. How many of you have ever cold called and said, "Hello, sir, my name is Joe Smith. Did I catch you at a good time?" You don't have to admit it. We've all probably been there. But can you think of how stupid that question really is? How many people are sitting there in a room just going, this Tuesday afternoon didn't turn out the way that I wanted to. Boy, am I bored. I got nothing but time on my hands. I really hope a salesperson would call, because I would love to hear their latest pitch. Ring, ring. Somebody's looking out for me. Hi. No, people could answer, sure, I've got time to talk, but again, what kind of calls usually incorporate that question? Right, and at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is a good defense beats a good offense, and we just don't want this call to sound salesy. So getting rid of that mitigates the salesy nature of the call, but it also closes off an off-ramp. Because if somebody thinks you're a salesperson and you give them an off-ramp, are they likely to take it? Absolutely. Hi, sales call coming. Boy, I hope you buy from me, but would you like to get off before I proceed? And if they say, I would, okay, thanks, have a good day. Why give them the off-ramp? That's our fault. That's an unforced error. So good one, but I'm actually looking for two additional ones. Any other thoughts?
The reason for my call?
Absolutely. Most people actually would say, well, don't I want to get the reason out of the way right away? Here's why I would say no. If you're reading a book, if you're watching a movie, like they call the peak of a movie or a book the climax, when it reaches its peak. What do they call it as it leads up to that climax? You know what that's called? Think back to English class. Rising action. So it's like, so somebody encounters a problem, somebody encounters a difficulty, there's a setback. How do we overcome that to reach the climax? Build the suspense a little bit, people. Leave them wanting more a little bit. Make them work a little bit more. If I just say right off the bat, "Hi, Joe, my name is Paul Neuberger. Want to see if you're happy with your cold call success rate?" Oh, boy. I didn't even leave them wanting more. I didn't even keep them guessing. I didn't even tantalize them a little bit. Let's have a little fun with this here. Pique their curiosity, buy some time, because the longer you can talk and the longer you have their interest on the phone, the more likely you are to succeed. How long did I say our scripts were?
20 seconds.
If you can buy 10 seconds, how far along are you to being finished? You're 50% of the way there, just by buying 10 seconds. So what I'm not saying is, I'm not saying buy yourself 10 minutes, just for crying out loud. Just buy yourself a little bit of time, and if you hit them with the reason right off the bat, I want to see if I can sell your house. Not interested, buy. Want to see if you're happy with your cold call success rate. Not interested, buy. Want to see if you're happy with the way your website's designed. No. Just, I don't want to say string them along, but just don't tell everything and reveal everything right away. Engage them a little bit more. Leave them wanting a little bit more and then hit them with it. Last one. Any ideas? My name is gone. Company, gone. Reason, gone. One more. It has to do with where you work. Do you all do the exact... Yes.
Job title.
Very good. I didn't even need to give a hint on that one. Your job title. So this is pretty good if you're an independent contractor, you're a business of one. For instance, if you're a financial advisor. So I could say, "Hi, John. My name is Paul Neuberger, financial advisor with Neuberger Investments." Well, I can get rid of Neuberger Investments, but if I still say financial advisor, I'm leading with my professional cap on. I'm leading with what I do and the services I provide. What kind of call starts like that? That's right. And you're going to hear this over and over and over and over. I firmly believe sales is not a job. Sales is not a career. Sales is a vocation. You have to be called to do this. And I think some days we wake up and we say, did I hear correctly? Is this what I was supposed to be doing? So even though we touch lives, we make the world a better place, and people don't know they need us usually until it's too late, nobody wants to talk to us. Nobody wants to receive an unsolicited call from us. So all I'm saying is don't sound like a salesperson. Let's build up. Let's pique the curiosity and let's get there. So here's my question then. What's left? If I said, okay, you have an introduction here. It's one sentence followed by one question, and we're telling them next to nothing. We're getting rid of my name is. We're getting rid of the company we work for. We're getting rid of the reason behind our call, and we're even getting rid of our job title. What in the heck must we be saying? Now, one more thing, again, just to stress it, we are going to tell them at some point where we work. You have to. We are going to tell them the reason behind our call. Could you imagine a call that went like this? Hi, Steve. Paul here. Want to meet? Well, sure. What are we going to discuss? You'll find out when I meet you. Where do you work? I'd rather not say. Just trust me. What do you do? I'll leave you in suspense. You can't do that. We laugh because it's ridiculous. So you have to say these things. I'm just saying don't lead with it. So, and if you already know the answer to this, because I'm seeing some faces in the audience that I recognize that might know where I'm going. So if you don't know this for sure, what might an intro sound like then? Any thoughts? We are in the peace nest after all. Okay, well that's fine. We'll build up to it. We'll get that participation going in a sec. So here's I'll give you option number one that incorporates all the don'ts that I'm telling you to avoid. Here's option number one. Hi Joe, my name is Paul Newberger, founder of the Cold Call Coach. Want to see if you're happy with your cold call success rate. What kind of a call must that be? Is there any doubt in your mind at all? No, because if I knew him, he wouldn't be introducing himself. If it was a friendly, personal call, he wouldn't bring his business into it, and he already told me the reason behind his call. Yes, I am happy with my cold call success rate, thanks. Here's an example of what an assumptive greeting would sound like based on what I want you to say and what I want you to articulate. And again, all I'm saying is the goal of all 5 of these parts is to do 2 things. The first one is to pique curiosity. After every part of the script, I want them to say, huh, what do you mean by that? Huh, go on. Huh, interesting, tell me more. Because if they're saying, huh, interesting, tell me more, what are they saying? Proceed with the cold call, kind sir. How many of you hear that on a daily basis? Usually it's bringing your mother into it and saying what a bad person you are, but to say, sir, that sounds interesting, please proceed. That's where we're trying to get them to go. So, does this pique curiosity? Does this, number 2, buy time? That's the second thing. Not only get them to go, huh, proceed, but buy time. Because if we've only got 20 to 25 seconds, all we need is a few seconds here, a few seconds here, a few seconds here. Those seconds add up, and next thing you know, you got through the entire script with somebody that's hanging on your every word, uninterrupted, and is that going to help your chance of success? Absolutely. So imagine a call that starts like this. Hey, Joe, Paul Newberger, how you been? Hi, Tom, Paul Newberger, what's new? Sally, Paul Newberger, how's your day going? Do you hear the difference? Sure. Let's do one more. Hello, Joe, my name is Paul Newberger, founder of the Cold Call Coach. Want to see if you're happy with your cold call success rate. Yay! Option number 2. Hey, Joe, Paul Newberger, how you been? Hi, Joe, Paul Newberger, what's new? Here is one other thing that I want to talk about. So, is it possible that the people you call have met somebody by the name of Paul Newberger but just forgot? No?
No, sure it's possible.
Okay, so let's look at this. There's 2 different types of calls. There's B2B and there's B2C. By a show of hands, and just so we know, B2B is business to business, B2C is business to consumer. By a show of hands, how many of you would say you're in the B2B category? Okay, by a show of hands, the rest are in the B2C? Okay, or both, right? So let's say it's B2B. For somebody to raise their hand, can you give me an example of a type of organization you're calling upon?
Manufacturing.
Good, manufacturing. Who within the confines of manufacturing would you be reaching out to?
Operations manager, human resources.
Let's say human resources. Are human resources people pretty well networked, would you say?
Yes,
Do they know a lot of people?
yes,
If you're cold calling them, have they been around the block a little bit?
absolutely.
Probably worth your time. So if I call this human resources person and I go, hey, Bethany Paul Newberger, how you been? I caught her on the spot. She picked up the phone. She doesn't know the call's coming. She doesn't know who's on the other line. Hi, Bethany Paul Newberger, how you doing? Is it possible she met somebody by the name of Paul Newberger but just forgot? Is it possible that in some networking event, LinkedIn, referral situation, previous employment, her daughter's soccer program, she might have met somebody by the name of Paul Newberger? Of course it's possible. All I want them to do is, hey, Paul, how are you? Hey, what can I do for you? So when it comes to doing that, by elevating their mood and piquing their curiosity, there's one thing I want to focus on, and that's the question. Now, people will often say, don't ask the question. Don't say, how are you? Don't say, how's your day going? I think that is terribly misguided. The reason they tell you to not ask, how's your day going? Why do you think that is?
Could be a bad day.
Could be a bad day. How's your day going? Crappy. Eddie Lacy just signed with the Seahawks. Okay. Bad. My kid just got an F on his report card. Terrible. My hours just got cut back. So it could be bad. Any other reason why they tell you not to ask a question? Partly because it gives them a chance to end the call. But what I would say, it's not the question that's doing you in, it's what's coming before the question. If you say, hello, Joe, my name is Paul Newberger, sleazy sales guy, about ready to sell you something. How's your day going? Really busy, about ready to walk into a meeting and my stomach kind of hurts, I gotta go. But if I just sound like a friend and I go, hey, Joe, Paul Newberger, how you been? Good, Paul. How are you? Don't ditch the question, ditch what comes before the question, because I'm going to argue you need the question to trigger the psychological response. If we temporarily lob the ball in their court, it shows we're going to be engaging you. It shows that we're assuming you know us. It assumes that, hey, there's familiarity here. What's up? I want them temporarily to go, oh, crap. Who is this? Hey, man, I'm good. How you doing? Everybody good? Family fine? What do I do? Because if they're thinking you know them, if they're assuming familiarity, and if they want to know more, they're going to let you proceed with the script. When it comes to the question, not only you should ask it, but you should ask a question that is very assumptive in nature. There's two types of questions. There's unassumptive questions, and then there's assumptive questions. Here's the difference. Here's an unassumptive question. How's your day going? How was your weekend? What did you have for breakfast today? Believe it or not, I got one client that tried asking that, and after 3 calls, I said, stop it. That's just creepy. How was your breakfast? What do you care? Geez. So those are unassumptive questions. These are assumptive questions, and I would encourage you to build these into your scripts because these are going to assume even more familiarity. Example 1, how you been? That's my all-time favorite one. I use that for my personal cold calls. How you been? Because how do you finish that sentence? How you been? Well, finish the question. So if I say, how you been?
Good, how you been?
Yep, since we last talked. How you been since we last met? How you been since we last had a conversation? How you been is an assumptive question. Another one, what's new? What's new since we last talked? What's new since I last had the pleasure of speaking with you? Another one, what's been going on? So all I'm going to say is it's kind of like baseball. When you get to fill out your exact script, it's like you in the batter's box. That's your time to shine. That's your time to be original and be you. Don't say something that you don't really believe, or don't say something that doesn't reflect you. For instance, if you're a hey guy, hey John. If you're a hello guy, hello John. Make it your own. I'm a hey guy. So the intro to my script is, hey Steve, Paul Newberger, how you been? Not how have you been, how ya been. It's casual, it reflects me, and that's the way that I like to talk. So all I want us to do is to realize how important the first few seconds of the script are. I don't want you to sound salesy. I don't want you to self-incriminate. I don't want them to go, why did I take this call? This is a guy trying to sell me something. But if you sound like a friend, if it's not so much what you say, but how you say, and in that opening frame, you say nothing that assumes that you're a salesperson or that you have an ulterior motive, watch how you elevate their mood, watch how they hang on their every word, and watch how you now have their undivided attention to proceed with the script, which is going to put you in a better position to be successful. Do not do not take this part for granted. Make it your own, make it assumptive, and just watch how these things start coming together.